The Steam Deck is on sale again. Like, they are constantly keeping this thing on sale, and it makes me wonder, are they doing this just to help celebrate the 20-year anniversary of Steam, or are they trying to clear out inventory to make room for something else? I don't know. There's a lot of rumors going around. We'll talk about those rumors in a little bit. But first, let's take a look at the tweet from @OnDeck. They said, surprise, Steam Deck is joining the celebration of the 20th anniversary of Steam with up to 20% off. From now until September 21st, all 3 editions of the Steam Deck, as well as the dock, are on sale, which is awesome. And how much are these things? Well, if you want to get the 64 gigabyte model, which is the cheapest version, it does come with a carrying case. You can get that one for $359. I would say, if you're going to pick that one up, only get that if you are also willing to pick up an SSD upgrade, which is a very, very simple upgrade. Even I can figure out an SSD upgrade for the Steam Deck, so you can too. But don't pick this up unless you're going to upgrade the SSD. And we'll talk about a new SSD that's available for the Steam Deck and ROG Ally later on in the video. You can also get the 256 gig model, which is a slightly faster SSD and bigger storage, obviously, for $450. Or you can get the 512 gigabyte model, which has the anti-glare screen, the fastest storage, obviously bigger storage as well, and that one comes in at $520. It seems like the Steam Decks are always on sale, and hey, I can't complain about that. If I want to pick up a new Steam Deck, which I have been considering, I might actually do that. But let's talk about why they are constantly on sale, because we have seen a lot of rumors lately about a possible upgrades to the Steam Deck, or maybe some new hardware coming from Valve. There's been tons and tons of rumors and updates in SteamOS 3.5, and all of this is kind of coming together to make me think that we've got something that is imminent. So let's talk about that.
Hey guys, finished testing that game yet? I've got another one I need designed.
We just finished level 3 and need to tighten up the graphics a little bit.
Great.
Oh, that's it. I'm going back to school. That sounds cool. What are you going for? Were you not just watching that commercial? For game design. I'm going to punch up the graphics on level 3. How old is that commercial? And what do I need to bring with me? It's game school after all, so probably my ROG Ally, my Nintendo Switch, my iPad, my Steam Deck.
Before you
phone,
pack, you
laptop,
might want to apply.
My Miu Mini Plus, my Steam Deck, my RetroPie. Oh, and I gotta bring chargers for all that stuff too.
Trust me, there's only going to be like 2 plugs in your entire dorm room. Instead of bringing all of that stuff, why not just bring one of these from our sponsor, Ugreen?
The Ugreen Nexode 300-watt charger can charge a whole bunch of devices at once. It was specifically designed so users can fast charge multiple laptops simultaneously, which reduces the need for a bunch of different chargers in your space. It also has built-in smart thermal guard systems. This keeps all of the devices that are connected to it safe by preventing them from overheating or receiving too much charge. You could charge 3 laptops and 2 phones, or 2 laptops and 3 other devices. For me, I'm charging my Steam Deck, my ROG Ally, my Retroid Pocket Flip, my iPad, and my phone all at the same time. So if you have more devices than you do plugs, check out the link in the description down below, and big thanks to Ugreen for sponsoring this video.
All right, so let's start things off with SteamOS. Back in, I'm going to say March? It was a really long time ago. I sat here at this desk and I told all of you that SteamOS 3.5 was on its way. It was about to happen. It was almost here. And now it's September and it still has not yet launched. But I'm here to tell you that this time I mean it. This time it's gotta be true. What makes now different than before? Well, if you are unaware, there are actually 5 different software channels that you can get, or update channels is the word I was looking for. There's 5 different update channels that you can use on the Steam Deck. I've got my Steam Deck right here, and I'm gonna turn that on, and we've got the stable channel, the release candidate channel, the beta channel, the beta candidate channel, and the main channel. Like, you have these as your options, but only if you've gone in and enabled developer mode. If you haven't enabled developer mode, I think you are limited to just stable and beta. But we have 5 channels available to us. And I am on the main channel. And the main channel might seem like, oh, well, that's the one that everybody's on. That's not true. The main channel is like the bleeding edge, most up-to-date stuff, where there's probably the most bugs and the fewest number of people should be using the main channel, because the main channel is where you're going to run into issues the most. I'm only on there because I wanted to see what was here so I could tell you guys about it, you know? Well, on the main channel, it was just updated the other day. It is now updated to SteamOS 3.6. I know, you're probably surprised about it. 3.6? Bill, wait a second. I thought we were talking about SteamOS 3.5. We were talking about SteamOS 3.5. SteamOS 3.5 has been moved to the beta candidate channel. So now it seems like we're about to get a new operating system that is coming out on the stable channel, because I don't think that it's been basically in development for a really, really long time, and I can't see them leaving it on the beta candidate channel for too long. So I think SteamOS 3.5, which is big and brings with it a whole bunch of stuff, including better caching for your stuff, so you're going to be a little less impacted if you've got the 64 gigabyte model. It also has adjustable sliders, so you can change your what's the word I'm looking for? Your saturation of your screen. And it comes with a new Linux kernel. So there's going to be a bunch of things that are going to change with this operating system. A lot of them you won't ever notice, but a lot of them will make everybody's life just a little bit better. However, there is one person. Well, yeah, I think one person. No, there's a group of people who will be inconvenienced by this update, and I'm going to tell you who that is. I got a message from one of my patrons. Link down below if you want to join the Patreon. They sent me a message. If I could just bring it up. I forgot about it until just now. That's why I don't have it handy. Magic of video editing. I got a message from one of my patrons, and the reason that they messaged me was because they were hoping that I could get you guys to help them out when it comes to a Steam Deck plugin. They said, my name is, I'm going to leave their name out because I don't know if they want that broadcast, but they said, I am the current maintainer of the Decky Recorder plugin. I've added the replay mode for saving recordings from past events and have since been doing bug fixes and maintenance. If you don't know what the Decky Recorder plugin is, basically, you know that button on your Nintendo Switch and your PlayStation and your Xbox where you hold it down and it takes just like the last X number of seconds and saves it? That's what this does, but for the Steam Deck. Now, in order to use it, I don't think that you have to use Decky Loader, but I think it makes it easier. But here's what they said. Some time ago, I found out about GameScope, the Steam Deck's compositor, that has been updated in a way that breaks Decky Recorder. This change currently exists in the main channel, which contains the preview for 3.5. Over the past 6 months, I've tried multiple times to fix this issue. I don't understand enough about the packages involved to make any real progress. I've also opened issues on GitHub repo for both SteamOS and GameScope, but I've gotten no traction. And they're hoping that I could help them get the word out that they need help to get the Steam Deck, what was it called? As Deck Recorder plugin working on SteamOS 3.5. So if you want to help them out, then I suggest you check them out on GitHub. But I just wanted to let you guys know about that, because when SteamOS 3.5 does come out, if you are somebody who regularly uses Decky Recorder, it seems like that's not going to work anymore. So I just wanted to let people know about that. Now, getting back to SteamOS. SteamOS 3.5 is something that we've been waiting for, like I said, since March. But why have we been waiting for it for so long? I mean, before SteamOS 3.5, Valve was iterating very, very quickly, and then suddenly everything slowed to a crawl. For a while, people were speculating that, hey, Valve has pretty much got it nailed and they're pretty happy with it, so they don't have to make changes quite as fast. And maybe that's the reason that they slowed down. Then after a while, people started to speculate that maybe the reason that they were holding it back was because it was going to coincide with the release of the software for just anybody to be able to download and install on whatever machine you wanted. For those of you that didn't know, when Valve first announced that SteamOS 3 was coming, they also said they were going to make it available to anyone who wanted to. That's something I've been waiting for a while. I've got a Windows machine sitting over there connected to my TV. I don't do anything on it other than play games. And I would really like to be able to put SteamOS on there. Sure, I could put Hollow ISO or Chimera or something like that, but I've been holding back on those things mostly because I prefer to use official stuff. So I've been waiting for SteamOS 3.5 and SteamOS just in general to be released so that I can upgrade my computer to that. But as time went on, people started to get these new leaks about hardware. And I made a video recently about the Van Gogh chipset getting new drivers for a new variant of that chipset. If you don't know, the Van Gogh chipset is the APU that is in the Steam Deck, and as far as I know, nothing else. And there were new audio drivers that went along with Linux, I'm going to say Linux 6.6, if I'm remembering correctly. If not, correct me in the comments. But there were new audio drivers that were related to a variation on the Van Gogh chipset. And since there's nothing out there that uses the Van Gogh chipset other than the Steam Deck, well, a lot of people assumed it was Steam Deck related. So could it be, a die shrink for the Steam Deck that uses less battery and is more efficient? Or could it be the Steam Deck 2? Or could it be like a Steam console, like the old-fashioned Steam machines? Or maybe it's Valve's Deckard that people have been talking about for a really long time. Now, as of now, there's a lot of evidence that sadly it's Bradley, who, if you don't know who that is, that's Brad Lynch. They do a lot of data mining for VR stuff, and they are almost 100% convinced that this is a VR console that will stream the games to the glasses. I personally hope that's not the case. I hope it's just a set top. Well, actually, that's not true. Bradley posted this on Twitter the other day. He said, earlier today? Yeah, earlier today. He said, there's a huge part of me that hopes this Galileo console is focused purely on the VR experience rather than just being a generic console that can also do VR. Now, I hope that he's wrong. I hope that he doesn't get what he wants. And it's not because I don't like VR, because I do. But there's a whole ritual that comes along with getting out your VR headset and putting it on and doing stuff. And so for me, I would prefer that it just be a 2D console, like a flat. When I say 2D, I don't mean just 2D games. I mean flat games that are not, VR games. I hope that it is that first and VR second. That's what I'm hoping for. But I'm very interested to see what it is either way. But it seems like with these sales that are constantly happening and all of these leaks and the fact that SteamOS 3.6 just came to the main channel and SteamOS 3.5 just went to the beta channel, it feels like we are getting really close to something. I mean, it's gotta be, doesn't it? But no matter what it is, I can guarantee that we're going to be talking about this on the next episode of the NerdNest podcast. So make sure that you subscribe if you want to check that out. We do that usually on Tuesdays, although next week I'm busy on Tuesdays, so I'm not sure what day it will come out. Maybe I'll have it come out a day early on Monday, if I can get the editing done in time. Earlier, I said that if you're planning on picking up a Steam Deck on the cheap, you should avoid the 64GB version unless you plan on upgrading the SSD. Once again, it's super easy to upgrade the SSD, so don't worry about technical skill. It's literally 10 screws or something like that. But one thing that I don't know if Valve realized that they would do is that they would impact the SSD market, because for a really long time it was hard to get M.2 2230 drives. That's the kind of SSD drive that is in the Steam Deck as well as the ROG Ally. Mostly it was only put in like laptops and stuff like that. But now you're starting to get more companies that are actually releasing these M.2 drives in that smaller form factor. Companies like Sabrent and stuff like that have been around for a while. But now even Western Digital is selling M.2 2230 drives for the Steam Deck and ROG Ally. Of course, you can use them for other things, but a lot of people are going to be using them for that. These drives operate at, I think, 5150 megabits per second, and they are based on the PCIe Gen 4. You can currently pick them up at Western Digital's website for $109 for the 1 terabyte version, or if you want to be very spendy, you can pick up for almost the cost of the Steam Deck itself a 2 terabyte drive that comes in for $239.99. By the way, since we're talking about storage, I want to do a quick update on another video that I had recently posted about Unity changing the contracts essentially with devs so that they would get charged on a per install basis. So if I bought a game from a dev and they used Unity to build it, if they're over a certain threshold and I install it on my Windows machine, and then I install it on my ROG Ally, and then I install it on my Lenovo Legion Go, and then I install it on my Steam Deck, each one of those installs counts as an install against the dev, and the dev gets charged a small fee for each one of those installs. I had even said that if you uninstall the game and then reinstall it, you're going to get charged again. And that's because there was a tweet from Tommy Tallarico saying that that was confirmed by somebody to him. Well, after recording that video, it turns out that Unity has said that they're not charging for reinstalls. But at the same time, the way I look at it is, hey, look, here's what they're doing. They make an announcement. They get backlash for it. They try and walk it back a little so that they can save face. But here's the deal. If they're going to change it once, they're going to change it again. And so this is obviously the direction that they are going. And doesn't matter how much backlash there is, eventually they will get there. They're going to keep walking it back a little bit and then pushing forward a little bit more. Walk it back a little bit, push it forward a little bit more, slowly but surely boiling the frog. So that's just something I wanted to update everybody about. And since we're spending so much time talking about handhelds, I saw this article over at bbomb.com. I've never heard of that website, but they said, are handhelds no longer a gimmick? And it's weird to me because obviously I know that the people who use handheld PCs it's definitely a niche market. It's absolutely a niche market. But the idea that it could be becoming mainstream, it's not outside the realm of the possibility, because even though most people who play video games are not playing on handheld PCs like the Ally or the Deck or the Legion Go when that comes out, the fact of the matter is that a lot of the gaming conversation that happens on gaming websites, on Twitter, on Reddit, on YouTube, a lot of that conversation does center around handheld PCs. Now, I don't know if this is because I notice it more, because I'm interested in it more, or I notice it more because it's happening more often, if that makes sense. I don't remember what that psychological thing is where when you're thinking about something, you see it all the time. But I feel like that might be it. But it might be that they are becoming more mainstream. And the idea that we now have, and I know that there's more than just three, but the three main competitors, as far as I am concerned, are Valve, Asus, and Lenovo. Like those three, I really had trouble counting on my fingers there, didn't I? Valve, Asus, and Lenovo. Those three are the big dogs in this fight right now. But I hate to describe it as a fight. And the reason I hate to describe it as a fight is because it feels like we are just fighting console wars all over again. But when you talk about the console wars, which have been exhausting lately thanks to games like Baldur's Gate 3 only being on PlayStation and Starfield only being on Xbox, PC players win every time, it seems. But it feels like that console war mentality is creeping across into the handheld space, which to me is crazy because they all play the same games. I put out a video months and months ago comparing the Steam Deck to the ROG Ally. And my final conclusion was it doesn't matter. You know, it depends on which games you want to play. Like, people ask me all the time, hey, which one should I get? Should I get the Steam Deck or the ROG Ally? And to those people, I usually say, well, are you really into Game Pass? Because if you're really into Game Pass, you should probably go with the ROG Ally. But if you are not really into Game Pass, maybe you are somebody who likes to play small indie games, in which case the Steam Deck would be a better fit because there's tons of those on Steam and it's cheaper and it's more comfortable if you ask me. You also have more options when it comes to inputs. But if you're somebody who plays a lot of online multiplayer games and you have to worry about anti-cheat stuff, then the ROG Ally is for you. If the screen is really what's important, then you probably want to go with the Ally. But if Steam input is something that's important, then you probably want to go with the Steam Deck. So every single time that I talk about, you know, these two devices, and now soon to be three, it always comes down to, it's not that this is better than that. It's that this is good at this is good at that, and now this other thing is going to be good at this other thing. And you have to weigh the options and decide which one makes the most sense for your use case. For instance, one of the things that I love about the Steam Deck that drives me up the wall about the ROG Ally is that there's no gyro in the ROG Ally. But wait, there is gyro in the ROG Ally. They just haven't enabled it for some reason. But recently I found out that there's a mod for Starfield which allows you to actually use gyro on the ROG Ally, which is crazy to me. The idea that they have the option to actually use motion controls in the ROG Ally and it is disabled for some reason is just bananas. But that's the kind of thing that we can see in the handheld PC space, where these things get updated over time way more often than things like a console. Like the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 5, and the Xbox Series X, they don't get huge new features all the time. And I feel like when it comes to handheld PCs, like the Deck and the Ally, and hopefully the Legion Go as well, we're constantly getting new updates that make the device better and better and better. By the way, since I brought up the consoles, I figured I should talk about the fact that it kind of felt a little bit like E3 today, although not nearly as exciting as that sounds, because I always look forward to E3 because I like announcements and stuff. And the fact that we had a Nintendo Direct and a PlayStation State of Play on the same day, that was really exciting. I was looking forward to watching these things when I got home from work. I watched them, and I came away really disappointed in both. I don't know if it's because I didn't manage my expectations enough, but there was very little about either of these that got me really excited. I mean, I was already interested in playing Spider-Man. They didn't show me anything in there that got me more excited, if that makes any sense. It didn't make me less excited for Spider-Man, but there wasn't anything that pushed me further. The thing that I liked the most in the PlayStation event was, it had to be the Final Fantasy Rebirth thing, but I didn't finish Final Fantasy Remake. Not because it wasn't good, but because, you know, shiny things and bad attention spans. I never finished it. So I don't think I'm going to be picking that up when it comes out next, I believe, February. Maybe. Between now and then, I'll finish Remake, but I'm probably not. But then the Nintendo Direct, I mean, I'll admit, I was not really expecting much, and it met my really low expectations, which you would think would not be the case, because I love F-Zero. I love me some F-Zero. That game, that is one of my favorite games of all time, and I love to load it up whenever I'm doing any emulation. F-Zero 99 sounds like something I would love, but Nintendo has they've trained me to not care about these games, and here's why. First off, it's included with my subscription, so I can play it right now, and you would think I'd be over there playing it right now because I love F-Zero, I love Battle Royales. Combine those two things, hot dog, Bill, this seems like a game made for you. You would think so. But with what Nintendo has done with the other 99 games over time, just canceling them and shutting them down for no good reason, I can't imagine that they're that expensive to keep running, is really frustrating. I can understand them shutting down Pac-Man 99 or Tetris 99. If I think Tetris 99 you could still play, but Pac-Man 99 has been shut down, I believe. I mean, I can understand that. You know, maybe there was a licensing thing and Bandai Namco was like, you can't have this license anymore. Whatever the reason is, they don't control that particular IP. Okay, maybe it was outside of their control. They absolutely control the IP for Mario 35. So when they shut that down, my brain just couldn't handle it. I was like, what is your problem? Why do you hate money? Because I guarantee there were people who picked up Nintendo Switch Online for that game because it was awesome. I loved it. So when they announced F-Zero 99, I just know they're going to shut it down eventually, so why should I even bother? You know? Anyway, kind of a disappointing little mini E3 today on September 14th, but it was a surprise one anyway. So I guess we can't complain about surprises. Was there anything in the Nintendo Direct or the Sony presentation that you were excited for? Let me know in the comments down below. But anyway, what do you guys think? Are you going to be picking up one of these Steam Decks on the cheap, or are you going to continue waiting, or do you already have all the Steam Decks that you need? Do you think that we're going to be getting SteamOS 3.0, 3.5 as a download for just anybody, or is Valve going to kind of keep holding on to that for themselves? Are we getting new hardware, and when is it coming, and what do you hope that it is? That's a lot of questions, and I cannot wait to read through your responses down below. Before you go, if you enjoyed this video, you're probably going to enjoy this one as well. From the Nerd Nest, I'm Bill. Stay rad, everybody.